Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hey, how do you do? Hope everything is good with you. How we doing out there, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful people of the world, the beautiful, happy, lovely, engaging, magnetic. I can't get the word out of my mouth. I just wanted to compliment you guys. I shouldn't be over complimentary, right? Because then it looks like I'm begging for you to please like me in some way whatsoever. Hey, seriously, I'm excited today because I missed yesterday. Obviously, I apologize. I did try to get in here online to make a little something happen, but the day got away from me, and that's just what happens sometimes in the real world. We have things we have to do, and we can't always do some of the things that we would like to do. But I guess I could have really done it if I wanted to do it like at 7 o'clock at night or something. But ladies and gentlemen, by then I'm on to other things. Ironically enough, that's kind of like what we're going to be talking about today, about having routines in a certain regard. So I was already on to the next part of my routine by that time. But anyway, hello and welcome to Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. I am your user-friendly host, Pete Palma, broadcasting live from the comfy confines of my very own home here in beautiful Florida on the west side. I love doing that. I keep adding to, by the time I give this show like another year and my whole intro and all my little things that I say, that'll be a whole hour just to say nonsense. But seriously, the whole thing's really it's not nonsense. I like to say it funny because mostly, I always say about not taking anything seriously. We're just talking here. We're just expressing ideas and having a good time. And it's not about, being crazy. So we have to be lighthearted a little bit and not take ourselves so seriously. I do see a lot of people sometimes, not a lot of people, but there are certain shows I used to watch on YouTube where I can tell, people take themselves very seriously. And I get it. Some people are doing a show and they really think of it in a certain type of way. Like I do think of it in a certain type of way, but it's this type of way. It's a silly, funny, we're blowing horns and blowing whistles. We got our bell and we got this little goofy toy thing here that makes this noise. This bell over here. Jingle bells, jingle bell rock. All right. Anyway, I'm sorry. So, but that's what you get over here at Operation Status Quo. And this is Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen, the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, most importantly, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. And the truth is, as I say so often, basically, this life is an experience. We are a spiritual essence having a physical experience, in these bodies. So, we just got to take it light a little bit and not get so worked up and realize, limit ourselves to the confines of our physical 3D paradigm. I wanted to follow up on the show I did the other day, plain and simple, when I was talking about the flat earth stuff. And, I reflected on that later, and I really just, I know I said this during the show, but just to say quickly, I just found it I always find it so amazing, just how people get so upset. Like, it's like I did lose 2 subscribers, and I don't know if it was directly because of that or not, but either way. And then my friend Tom, who was on the line, he was worked up a little bit, telling me I'm out of my mind and all that stuff. And I'm just like, listen, man, am I sitting here professing, pounding my fist on the table saying the earth is flat? And I think the problem with people, when they start thinking about that concept, that really gets them upset is because they still look at it as it's just a flat disc floating in space, and that's the part I try to say when I talk about that subject, is that it's not about whether it's round, whether it's flat, or it's not just, it's more than that, because of the idea that there is no such thing as time and space. Everything is multi-dimensional, right? So it's not like here and there. I mean, it is in a certain regard, but anyway, I'm not going to get all into it, but I mean, I don't think personally, when I say the earth is flat, from my perspective, I don't think it's like it's floating in space as this flat disc. It just, that I don't mean that either. So I really mean it in a multi-dimensional type way. I'm not going to get into that now. We'll do another show about it again, maybe down the line, or somebody wants to come on and talk about it. Maybe you want to come on and talk about it and have information you'd like to share and express your opinions on that topic. We can do that because that's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. First and foremost, it's about you guys, the beautiful people out there of the world, because I love you so much. And, if you ever want to come on and share your thoughts and ideas, you're more than welcome to do so. You want to send me messages and let me know something you'd like for me to discuss, I'm happy to do that too. So today is the 5th of October in the good year 2023, and today's program is entitled Routinely Routine, ladies and gentlemen, because, I had I'm always saying this. I had a conversation. I was talking with someone recently, and I was just talking about, sometimes I feel, because I'm very kind of fixed in my ways. I have routines, and I appreciate my routines because I think of my life when I was younger, when I didn't have routines, especially your young days, like, your late teens, early 20s, when you're going out all the time with, building your social groups and all that type of thing. I never really had any routines. Like I'd do this at this time and that at that time, basically I was just like, I was out partying, right? So I would sleep half the day, get up at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon so I can get something in my gullet, before I went out, having a good time till 5 in the morning. I would work, in restaurants and such, so sometimes I worked nights, sometimes I closed, sometimes I worked during the day and opened the place. It was like kind of just like, everything was haphazard more so. I look back on those times like great times. Sometimes I feel I wish I was a little less routine oriented at this point in my life because it was really, a lot of those experiences were fun, like just throw caution to the wind and, wherever the wind takes you that day is like where you go. I remember plenty of time, especially up in Jersey, I had some friends that lived out towards the Pine Barrens in that area, and we used to, he had the truck, and we used to go through the dirt roads and just spend half the day driving around through, the pines. And, I wouldn't do that today per se, so I'm like, I got too much to do, right? I'm not going to just, unless I planned a particular day to, but that's how every day was, back then. So, and I was talking with someone recently, and the person was saying, like, because I was saying, well, I got to do this today and this today. And they're like, gee, I just get up every day and I have no idea, what I'm going to do. And I thought about it, and I said to that person, I was like, oh, I wish I could be a little more like that in certain ways, because sometimes I feel my routines keep me from, doing other things. And, ladies and gentlemen, it's to each individual, of course. And I would say everything has to have its balance, as it were. But I will say, in what I have learned is I do think before, and I have a list here of, the importance of routines and how it helps you in your life. But I'm just speaking before I even read it because I haven't read it yet. I just found it. You know how we do here. Everything's new. I want it to be new to me, and so it's new to you. And, and we work on it together. But yeah, I just noticed in my life since I've created these routines, and it's taken time. It probably is something that you develop more as you get older. You learn about yourself, and you go through different stages in life, right? But like for example, myself with my healthcare routine, like it's important for me to do my exercise every day, to make my vegetable juice and drink that every day. It's important for me to cook at home most of the time. Like I'm not one of these people ordering food out at restaurants a lot, like on a weekend or an occasion, sure, go out and get something. But, in general, I want to be in control of that and prepare it myself and know exactly what I'm, putting in my body. I want my certain amount of sleep, and not to be like an old man or something, but those and even my show, honestly, even doing this is part of like the day that I have in my mind, part of my routine. Maybe play my guitar a little bit, or do stuff like that, whatever I'm doing. But I guess I should say work, right? I mean, if I actually do my job ever. Maybe one day. I don't like to put that into the routine. It's not any fun. Hey-o. I would advise everybody, take work out of your routine. Unless you're doing like a meaningful, real job. Like if you're doing bullshit like I do, then don't even worry about it. You know what I mean? Go on to something else. But I do think routines, just before I get into it, can establish a foundation to work from. And would I agree to deviate from that from time to time, to do different things? Of course, you're not going to live like a robot your whole life and do the same thing at the same times every single day. But having things in your life that are important to you, that help keep you stable and centered, and especially in today's world. I mean, listen, we know what's going on. Today's not about being political or or conspiratorial or anything. It may be when I never know what's going to pop into my head as I start talking, but in general, that's not what it's about. So you know, in the midst of the chaos, it's nice to have a routine because, it keeps you centered, it keeps you focused, and, it keeps you from, deviating into the paths that are going to kind of get you off track and bring you down, right? That's kind of how I look at it. So let's get into this here. I have a list today of some items that would say why we would be, better off. Why is it beneficial, I'll say, to have a routine in your life. So number one, it says it makes us more efficient, which, makes sense in itself. I mean, I guess I could read all these, when we have a routine that we follow daily, it reduces the need to make decisions each day. Yeah. Well, in today's world, we don't want people to make this, they don't want to have to make decisions, right? So just know what you're going to do ahead of time. It's just funny the way that reads, but it's true. You wake up sometimes if you have nothing on your plate at all. The empty mind is the devil's an idle mind is the devil's playground. Isn't that what they say, or something like that, right? So, it reduces, figuring out what you're going to do because you know what you're going to do because, you have a routine. So it enables us to know exactly what tasks we need to do each day without having to contemplate, decide, or think too much. When we are finished with one task, we know what comes next without much thought. Activities become standardized and we become more efficient as a result. Well, if I was on the other side of this, I'd be making fun, just the way that reads, I'd be making fun of it because it sounds limiting, right? But it's not. I mean, I to a degree, but yes, it can make you more efficient. I find myself fairly efficient. I know the things I want to get done in the day. I accomplish things. So, it also gives you a sense of accomplishment, right? I'm sure that's probably here in the list too. It creates structure in our lives. I think that speaks for itself. Obviously, if you have a routine, especially things like exercise, these are the things that are really important in the routine, your daily routine, right? Because you have to make sure self-care is number one, first and foremost. No matter what's going on in the world out there, no one's going to take care of you but you. So it's really important, and that's what I think the most important part. If we wanted to just leave the show right here, I would say is that structure and how it really helps keep yourself balanced and fit, like able. You don't have to be like, Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, but, at least some sort of like exercise routine where you find yourself, you can walk up a flight of steps and you can breathe, you're not like on all kinds of dialysis and everything else because you're eating shit food all the time, right? So it saves time. Which is our most valuable resource. Time is the most precious asset at our disposal because once lost, it is not retrievable. Well, we do know that there is no such thing as time, but in the context of our day-to-day life, yes, I would say having a routine saves time. You become efficient. You know what you're doing. You accomplish the task that you're going to accomplish. It instills good habits. The secret is building good habits. The secret to building good habits is repetition. When we design a personal routine that works for us, it facilitates developing good habits by encouraging us to repeat the same task over and over again, just like brushing our teeth, right? Just brushing our teeth. So, yeah. I would say definitely instills good habits. And I'll agree with that 100%, just thinking of my exercise routine and my juicing and stuff. And these are all things that were added into my life, and again, let's just make it clear here, you don't have to do anything all at once. If you decide you want to start adding things into your life, a lot of people say they don't have time to exercise between their work and between their family life. I understand that, right? But at the same time, we all have choices and we all can, to me, it's always about whatever's important to you, you'll accomplish it. So maybe it doesn't have to be some big, 2-hour workout routine all day, but if you're able to get, 20 minutes a day to start, if you don't do anything now, right, at least get a little walk for like a half hour a day or just a little bit of space where you can start building those things into your life and you'd be surprised, and it starts instilling good habits. You start feeling better by doing some of those things. And before you know it, you're doing more things. So on the other side, it breaks bad habits. So it instills good habits and it breaks bad habits, right? Because sometimes if you're left to yourself too much, think about how many times people are bored, especially with eating. I mean, I can speak on this because I'm that way. There's times like, I have my routine, my routine, but the way I personally eat, okay? Sometimes during the day, I'll be bored if something's, I could be bored certain days, when the schedule is a certain way, and I'll find myself at times when I normally wouldn't eat, really wanting to eat. And I still don't eat, but like I can feel like, oh my God, like if I was out somewhere right now, I'd totally get a burger or a sandwich, or if I was, just It's just how it goes. You're without that structure to keep you going, when your mind's occupied and you're doing, you're not thinking about filling it up. I think a lot of times with food, especially, we're so conditioned with this 3 meals a day, and how many calories to take in, and how much of this and how much of that. And I have found for myself over time, basically, I really realized that we just don't need as much food as we think we do, and you really can get by on a lot less than you think. And I'm not saying to starve yourself or anything, but you don't need to like have a breakfast and then like a mid-morning snack, and I mean, of course it depends on what you're eating. If you're eating like fruits and vegetables and good stuff, I mean, more power to you, enjoy it all day. But who's getting a bag of chips, or some other junk food in the middle of the day, a couple cookies, a couple little piece of candy or something, Snickers bar to pick you up, so. It also, having a routine helps us become more proficient. Of course, if you have a routine, you start to become better at certain things because you're doing it regularly. I'll definitely speak on that just to say about, my guitar is a good example because, I started playing guitar when I was like 12, and I could tell you that I've gone through periods where I didn't pick it up for years, and then I would pick it up again and then stop again and pick it up again. I really try to, I don't get to it every single day, but, I always keep in my mind, I want to try to set a half hour aside every day to play a little bit, just to keep my skills up, to keep my hand moving, and to keep the calluses on my fingers, because if I don't play for a certain amount of time, oh my gosh, it's brutal for like a week. If I go like a couple months or so, I don't know, some kind of time without playing, it's like, how it is. Anybody who plays guitar out there, it's brutal on the fingertips if you let it go. So you gotta keep up. It does make you, and obviously same type of thing. Like I know how to play, right, chords, and I can do. But if I don't play for a while, all of a sudden my hand's not moving as well as it did, if I'm playing every day. I mean, this kind of speaks for itself, right? If whatever you do, you become more proficient at over time. I'll even say that about making my vegetable juice, like the way I can, because I do this, I've been doing it every day. Well, not every day since 2003. I started in 2003, but I would say I've been doing it every day for sure. I mean, just about. I mean, maybe I would miss 5 to 10 days a year at the most, and I started doing that. I was on that schedule doing it every day, like by 2007. So, and I think about now how quickly I can throw it all together and make it, before it would take me a lot longer, but anyway, it's just like anything else. The more you do something, the better you get. It helps us to get most important tasks. It helps us to get the most important tasks done. I agree with that too. Like, I'm just speaking on myself, whatever your personal things may be, but my exercise is important to me. So I want to make sure, I know that's part of something I want to do. That's why I do it first thing. I get up in the morning. It's one of the first things I do, because I want to make sure I just know, think about it. You always say, yeah, I'm going to exercise, and then the day kind of goes on and you get caught up with this and that. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, I had that pizza for lunch and now I feel so full and kind of tired, and now I'm home and I don't feel like doing anything, so that's just how it goes. So you want to complete with some, and the truth about all this too is with these routines is you have to decide what's important for you and what makes you happy. That's why we say here to create your own flow of quo, right? So you have to do what makes you feel good and what makes you happy, and then you prioritize those items and you create the routine out of that, and then you become proficient at the things that you like, and you get the things that you are important to you done. You build good habits, you get rid of bad habits. You see how beautiful it is? Prioritization, that's what I just said. You prioritize, what's important to you. And think about it just from that perspective. Even if you don't have a routine or you don't like a routine, just maybe reflect on what is really important for you. Like if you just think about a general day, what do I really want to accomplish in a day? Maybe if for some people, they want to make it to the next level of Mario Brothers on Nintendo. I don't know. Is there still Mario Brothers? I don't know. I'm so behind the times on the video games, I couldn't tell you. But, whatever it is that's important to you, it's, you take the time to make your routine based on those things, and think about what a wonderful feeling of accomplishment it is that, that you give yourself that space to have that time to do the things that are important to you. So, let's see, it reduces the need for determination and willpower. So, right, once you build a routine, I'll attest to this too, it becomes part of what you do in your normal day. It doesn't feel like you have to force anything. But going back to using the example of exercise, it's like, some people trying to get on a routine of exercise, it's hard, right? It's like, oh, I don't feel like it. But, when it becomes something, again, if it's something that is a priority to you and you want to do, and you start putting it into your schedule and building through, then, it you don't have to fight yourself anymore. It's not about willpower. Like going back to my example of making the vegetable juice, like I say, I do it basically every day. I mean, really every day. So, it's not like I need the willpower to do it. It's already in my head that this is something that I'm going to do today, and I know I'm going to get it done. So let's see. It also reduces procrastination, right? That makes sense. It speaks for itself, right? If you have a routine, you're not going to sit around and procrastinate. Oh, Mr. N is on the line in the chat. Yo, Mr. N, once you get used to daily exercise, you can't live without it. Feels so much better. I agree with you, Mr. N, 100%. I'll tell you, because when I was younger, I never really used to exercise. I didn't used to exercise at all. I mean, I was young, so I played sports with friends and just casually stuff, but never a specific routine. And it wasn't until I got older and developed, and like even now, like I don't go to the gym like I used to. I used to go to the gym and do weights more, but I do like body weight workouts at home. I got some bands and different things, and just where I am right now, I would like to go back to the gym. Honestly, I keep thinking about I like to get back onto that part of things I was doing. I enjoyed that as well. But the point is, it's always like if you're doing something like you're saying, Mr. N, like once you get your body moving all the time, you can't live without it. It's the same thing with the eating junk food. As much as I used to love eating my Big Macs back in the day, I just can't do it because I just feel the difference when I eat that crap. If I'm going to eat some kind of food out, I'd rather at least go to a half decent restaurant and get something that wasn't, I don't know, that's not genetically modified, right? Or that they're cutting down all the rainforests so they can have these have the cattle grazing so they can kill them all for McDonald's burgers and chicken nuggets. All right. Let's see here. What else? What did I just say? Yeah, reduces procrastination. It builds momentum, right? I'm just basically saying that the same thing. It builds, and that's the thing. I think the hardest thing for people in general when they're starting anything in their life is to build that momentum. Because if you're going from stop to, you're not going to go from stop to 100 miles an hour right off the bat, right? It takes a little time. You got to build the momentum, and you have to see the results too. Not for anything. When you start any kind of, and again, I'm talking a lot about exercise and nutrition and stuff, but just in general, anytime you start something new, maybe you want to be a painter, you never painted before, you buy a canvas and you got some paints, you're not going to, maybe you will, but you're probably not going to do a masterpiece right off the bat, right? It's going to take a little bit of time to get used to how to mix your colors, how to hold the brush at an angle that you want to make the stroke you want. I mean, whatever the case may be. So little by little, and as you start to accomplish and move forward, doesn't it make you feel great? And it actually propels you even more as you start to build that momentum. You see what you've accomplished, and to go back even to the exercise. And sometimes when you start an exercise routine, your body hurts, or it might be a little. You might feel more fatigued a little bit in the beginning just because your body has to get used to. But once you get over that hump of, as it were, the momentum just continues to build. It also builds self-confidence. Obviously, you're completing tasks. You see progress, so you're going to feel confident in yourself. It's going to propel you to continue forward. It also saves us money when we follow a routine and do the same things over and over. It can help save us money. For example, part of this person's routine involves juicing fruit. Oh my God, this person, I'm reading this, and this person, it's not me. This person juices vegetable juices each morning. Because I know that I'm going to follow this routine religiously, I can buy my fruit and vegetables in bulk, save the money. That's exactly what I do. Oh my God, I got to give a round of applause. I got to see who wrote this article because that's amazing. That's exactly what I do too. I buy in bulk. I know exactly how much I need for the week. That's amazing. That's amazing. Hey-o. Yeah, it makes your life easier. And again, I just want to say this, routine is not about being boring and just like, keeping yourself in a box. Routine, we're living, right? You're living lots of years, so hopefully you're living lots of years. So, you have to have some structure. And then within the structure, you branch off here and there and you treat yourself to certain things. Like my grandma, I say this 100 times, as my grandmother always used to say, everything in moderation. Oh man. I should keep things in moderation, like my big mouth sometimes, right? The way I talk and talk and talk. It helps to reduce stress and facilitate relaxation. There will always be things in our lives that are beyond our control, and we need to accept that. However, there is so much that we there is so much we can control, especially if we follow a routine. When we design and stick to a routine, it eliminates a lot of stress because we do not have to think about or worry about what needs to get done. The act of doing gives us a sense of control and helps us relax instead of fretting about the tasks at hand. And it is really true. Even during days when I'm doing some of the stuff that's my daily routine, my brain can be off in other places, like, oh, how about maybe I should do this, or what about, I'm thinking things, but I'm still doing my routine things. I could be exercising. I could be making a juice. My brain might try to get away from me, but where am I physically? Where am I in the present moment? I'm there doing, keeping my structure. And if I let those thoughts take me away from that structure, so you see how it all, and what I'm realizing too is that routine, it really helps to keep, a healthy life, and it's all about people, right? What's it about? It's about living happy, it's about being kind. It's about living with, a little bit of softness in our hearts, right? So, having these routines and giving to yourself in that way allows us to, give to each other so much more. Let's see, there's a couple more here, two more. Helps us achieve our goals, right? If you have a goal maybe you want to run a marathon, right? So, you got to set a routine to start training. Like I said, you want to be a painter. You want to have your art on display somewhere where you got to start painting. You got to build that routine. You got to, if we're going to achieve your goals. And finally, it says it keeps us on the track of success. Yep. When we slack off and fail to follow our predetermined routine, it is a clear sign that we are falling short. It is an excellent way to monitor our progress. We can subsequently make adjustments and get back to following our personal routines while having the confidence that we are on the right track again. And I'll tell you, that was actually, I was really good. I gotta be honest, I just came up with that one like 5 minutes before we came on. I was like, what am I gonna talk about today? Oh, I don't know. How about like the structure of a routine, how important it is? Hey-o. Where do I come up with them, cousin? You remember the show Perfect Strangers? Standing dun, 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 dun. With Balky Bartakamus. All right. So anyway, hey, Mr. N, I really appreciate you hanging in here today on the chat with me and participating. And I'm glad that you have a routine out there. Mr. N, we got to get you back on the show. So maybe we can make that part of your routine where you come on Operation Status Quo a little more often. So we miss you over here, but I'm glad to see that you're still out there and participating. And I did laugh at your comments about my friend with the Flat Earth show that I did, and I was talking about that in the beginning of this program. So I don't know if you heard me saying that or not, but I didn't mention you, but I was just talking about just so interesting. Just one last time to say about that. I think since you're here, Mr. N, I'll just real quickly say the most crazy thing to me is I just can't get over how people get so upset out of a different idea, and anybody who watches me regularly understands that I'm not trying to say what's right or wrong, man. Like, listen, we're all living in this crazy bleeping world. It's so beyond out of control right now. Nobody knows what's true, and you see how much we've been lied to by the powers that be for so long. Why not be open to believing that the earth is flat? I'm just saying, like, they lied about everything else. Like, our religion's a lie, our history's a lie, our energy's a lie, our money's a lie, and I don't know, it's just funny to me. But damn it, the earth, we're not going to argue about that one. So anyway, yes, Mr. N says agreed. He'll give me a text. Yeah, reach out, Mr. N. I would love to get you back on here and have another conversation. It's always great to have people to chat with here on the show. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this information was helpful for you today about building a routine. Just think about it, what it means to you, and think about your day-to-day life and what could, what aspects of what we discussed here might be helpful to you to, put some ideas in process to make your day just better for yourself. What's better for you is better for everybody else, better for the world, and we all live a happy little life together. All right? So thank you again so much for your time to be here today. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. And until tomorrow, God bless you. Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
Is a boulevard of 10 short blocks.